here. All right, let's do this. So thank you all for sharing. So you already know these, basic things. I appreciate that you all have your mics off already. You can communicate with me via the chat and an emoji, you're able to use to express how you're doing. And it looks like everyone has signed in. So again, I shared the link with all the documents that you'll be needing for today, including the slides and whatnot. Okay, we have more participants, it looks like. Alrighty, so thank you all for being here. I'm gonna introduce myself one more time just because we don't know who got to see, hear about me. So again, I am Maria Ruiz. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for being here today. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a school social worker at Hardin Middle School, and this will be my 3rd year. So it looks like if you have not signed in, let me share that one more time. On messages. Thank y'all for being patient. Now there it is, chat. Excellent. So this is the document that you'll be needing for everything to access the sign-in sheet and to access resources and the slides. All right. So thank you for taking time to introduce yourself and to tell me where you're coming from. We have individuals from many different school sites: Mount Toro High School, Salinas High, Rancho San Juan, Everett Alvarez, EL Specialist, Everett Alvarez, Rancho San Juan, Alisal, Salinas, El Puente, nice, La Paz Middle School, HMS. All right, this is awesome. Leslie, welcome. Thank you very much. Teacher at MTROP. And you had an excellent summer. I'm really happy to hear that. Again, we're starting off with an emoji that describes you. Describes how you're feeling right now. So here we go. So today's objectives. Today's objectives are 1, to learn how to build healthy relationships with students to enhance their academic success post the pandemic. And number 2, to take away some tools to strengthen communication with students. So a way of doing this is by learning more about ourselves. So what's going on with me? How am I feeling? How am I doing? Am I giving my best? Am I feeling good enough to give the best of myself? So those are some of the things that we're going to be reviewing today. And okay, admit, awesome. Because I have to facilitate all this, I just want to make sure that everyone was admitted into today's session. And number 3, just enjoy the presentation, make the best out of it. I will have a time at the end of today's session so that you can ask any questions that you may possibly have, okay? But I am also monitoring the chat, so we also have Juan from El Sausal, JC from Everett Alvarez, welcome. All right, so today's agenda. Today we're going to be reviewing, we're going to get to know each other a little, and we're going to incorporate some of the activities that I'd like to encourage you all to use in the classroom environment as we return into this hybrid world, right? Some are virtual, some are in person. So things that we can possibly do to, again, build relationships with our students. We're going to review Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Then we're going to review what student observation. So we're going to observe students, their behaviors, what they're communicating to us. We're going to review some trauma-informed approaches that may be helpful, as well as communication tips. After that, we're going to definitely take a break, which is very helpful, very definitely needed, because this is a 2-hour session. So I don't want to put you all to sleep. Let's be real. I want to make sure that we're all focused. If y'all need to get up, stretch, drink some tea, some coffee, some water, feel free to do that. And after a break, we're going to come back, review self-care assessment, stress management, unhelpful thinking styles, and ways to cope with some of those unhelpful thinking styles. and where and how to get help. And at the end, of course, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them. So we're going to start off with, I'd like to know, did you have an adult in your life from years K through 12 who had a big impact in your life? Any individual, any adult at a school site that had a big impact in your life? If they did, who was it and how? You can type a sentence or two. You can just type their name just to like remember who that was. So take a moment to think about that individual that had a big impact in your life as you were in school. It can even be preschool if that's someone who had an impact in your life. So I encourage you all to type in. So science teacher in high school from Scott, thank you very much for sharing. English teacher, Mr. Poole, sorry. Nohemi, elementary, ESL para. PE teacher, elementary school, believed in you and gave you a ton of praise. Absolutely makes a difference. Chemistry teacher in high school, shared planet. Planet. Tim, English teacher in high school. Latin teacher in middle school, Mrs. Harden, look at that. Mr. Johnson, senior year in high school. Mr. Cunningham at Harden Middle School, yes, he is amazing. Sixth grade teacher, Fisher, Mr. Johnson. Your dental teacher, look at that. Yes, Upward Bound mentor, UCSC. Mr. Johnson, senior year, Latin teacher in middle school, Mrs. Harden, we got that one. Math teacher in high school, STEM, Mr. Chives, third grade teacher, math teacher. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those. My first grade teacher, Mrs. Orser, was someone who had a big impact in my life. Just as someone shared earlier, she cared about me. She praised me. She showed that she cared and she believed in me, which really encouraged me to do much better. So I wanted you all to take a minute to just think about that, because just as they had an impact in your life, now that you're here as an educator, you will have an impact in someone else's life. And I want to remind you of that, because sometimes it's easy to forget. We're kind of like taking it day by day, and then we're like, oh, so what are we doing, right? But you need to remember that you are having an impact in someone's life as you're an educator. Patty Balzac, yes, she's my favorite teacher. Yeah, so thank you all for engaging. And you already shared your name, your title, school, and preferred pronouns. I already shared mine as well. Ella, ellos, ellas, pronouns, all of these different ones. Okay, so we're gonna start off with an activity that I'd like to encourage you all to try out, and that's shared in the document that I already shared with you. It's gonna be under daily class activities. So if you open that up, you're gonna see a bunch of different activities that we'll review a bit later. But let's start off with today's day. So I checked out the National Day calendar. I know that at least one person, two people know me. And so I do look at the National Day calendar for fun. That's one of my go-tos. And so we're going to start off with celebrating that. So happy Wednesday, and it's Would You Rather Wednesday. So you can type it up in the chat. Thank you for sharing your pronouns, Noemi. And or say it out loud. So here we go. So these are the options. This is something that I'd like to share with y'all. You can either type number 1 or number 2. The one on the left is number 1. The one on the right is number 2. You can either type the number, you can go ahead and type left, or you can type right, or you can literally just type in like McDonald's cheeseburger or BK, whatever it is that you prefer. So this is just so far sterile. So again, this is fish sticks, so they count. So we're gonna focus particularly on this exercise, and kids love this game. I've facilitated groups. I offer individual, family, group, family therapy, group and family, I should say. And this particular group is super awesome. So we're gonna start with number 1. Would you rather have a McDonald's cheeseburger or a Burger King cheeseburger? All right, let me see. I see Cyril, so it's like a no-go with either one. Fish sticks, they can be like a separate one, but yeah, fish sticks are good. Number 1, so we got McDonald's, Burger King, McDonald's, BK. In and out. Yeah. I'm just showing this one for funsies, right? You can definitely customize it. So we see a lot of McDonald's. None, neither, one or two Wendy's. Yep. So I saw lots of McDonald's, a couple of Burger King. Let's see what. Okay, so we're gonna pick Burger King for this particular exercise. So it sounds like McDonald's one for this one. No meat. Good. I know they have like an Impossible Whopper now, or Impossible meals for individuals. You know, they're vegetarian or even vegan meals in particular restaurants. And again, we're just doing this one because it's National Junk Food Day and we can have our students engage in this way, right? So now the second one, do you prefer a Popeyes drumstick or a KFC drumstick? So Popeyes or KFC, left or right? Number one or number two? Number one, so Popeyes. KFC, Costco chicken. Neither. Yikes. All right. No fast food, please. I hear you on that. Again, this is more like, you know, it's geared towards students. Moms, I agree. I agree with moms. Yep. You hit it on the spot, Tim. Cecilia Gomez. All right, one. So we see a lot of one. And let's see. Yep, Popeye says that they thought was best. And again, this is like not to have anyone be right or wrong. This is just a poll that was taken, that was given to other individuals. So you've only had KFC, Cynthia, so I guess you'll take that. Yeah. All right, so would you rather have a slice of Pizza Hut or a slice of Domino's pizza? Now you can have some vegetarian or gluten-free options there too. So it's just talking about what place, right? So Pizza Hut or Domino's? Okay, I see Pizza Hut, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Pizza Hut. 4 Pizza Huts, 1 Domino's. Frankie, Johnny, and Luigi's, Domino's, but you love Round Table? Mm-hmm. Domino's. PH. Oh, Pizza Hut, ha. Took me a whole second. So we got Pizza Hut, Planet Pizza. Okay. Pizza Hut. And we got some Domino's. Awesome. Thank you all for participating. So let me see what everyone who took this particular poll said. Domino's. All right. Again, this exercise is one of the exercises that you can try with students. It took approximately 10 minutes. It takes like 10 to 15 minutes. And yeah, so thank you all for engaging in today's exercise. So now we're gonna go on to like today's presentation. So first I wanted to engage you on, this is something, again, it's a tool that you can use with your students. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have any of you heard of it? And if so, what have you heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? You can go ahead and unmute your mic if you'd like, or you can type it into the chat.
My understanding, this is Molly. My understanding of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is that you cannot feel love and belonging without safety, without physiological needs being met. So you cannot reach self-actualization if your other needs are not being met.
Excellent explanation, Molly. Thank you very much for being brave and unmuting your mic this morning. So exactly what Molly said. It's not just like a pyramid, but it's the importance of it. It's like if we don't have our basic needs met, it's going to be very difficult for a student to feel safe, feel like they belong in the classroom. Yes, thank you, Jennifer. You can't move on to deeper learning until your basic needs are met. Cecilia, yes, that students cannot learn without their basic needs being met. Right, so again, it's not just their basic needs. So yes, the importance of basic needs being met, that includes food, shelter, are they sleeping, do they have water? And then we go on to safety, and we're gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and provide a little more information about that. Like, what does that mean as we're returning to hybrid learning? I know most students are gonna be coming in person, and what does that mean to them, and what does that mean to us? And of course, when students feel safe and they have their basic needs met, such as having clothing, food, water, a home, then they have a sense of love and belonging, which helps boost their confidence, their self-esteem, and allows them to function at their full potential. So that's what it is. Now, how will you know if a student's basic needs are met? Yes, thank you, Nora. Physiological needs are foundational. They form the wide base at the bottom, allowing us to build from there. Exactly. We might not always know, but you might be able to observe some of those signs. So some students show verbal and other students show nonverbal communication. What type of behaviors have you all seen in the classroom environment, like in the virtual or non-virtual environment, so in your actual classroom? Basic needs can include all of the lower levels, correct? So what are some behaviors that you've seen in the class? You're welcome to unmute again, or you're welcome to type into the chat. Basic needs can include all the lower level, hunger, yes. Thank you for typing. So again, what are some behaviors that we observe? Hunger, exhaustion, yes. Thank you, Jennifer. Patty, sleepy kids, kids falling asleep, yes. Patty, Stephanie. Cynthia, hoodies on, head down, on table, smiles, frowns, sleeping. No possible chance that most students will not share their cameras. Thank you, Deborah. And sleepy again, Noemi. And my students can't stay present in their own bodies. Great example. So these are also some of the things that we see. When our students are, quote, out of control, defiant, disrespectful, oppositional, disruptive, really what they might be trying to communicate to us is they might be homeless, they might be in the foster care system, they might be hungry, their dad might have been arrested, they might not understand the material, and they might think they're worried about other people thinking they're dumb. So there are various reasons on on why students may be acting, quote, out of control, end quote, right? So there are things that we can look out for, right? These are some of the signs, some of the things. Now, this is a question that has come up a couple of times. Because students are struggling, right? Like some maybe they share that their dad was arrested last night, or that they're homeless, or maybe they had a recent loss. This is a question that some educators have asked me. Should I disclose my personal experience so students can relate? Do I tell them that I was also that I also had like a bunch of losses and that I'm experiencing many different challenges at this time? Like trouble with my family, trouble with, whatever the other situation is going on? The answer to this is, please know that one, your information is not going to be kept confidential necessarily, because students, they're teenagers, they're in the adolescent brain, they might share and they might not necessarily share it in the same way that you did. And also know that sometimes oversharing information can potentially be harmful. Why? Because students are already trying to, like, they might not even have the tools to process their own trauma, their own hurt, everything they're experiencing. So now if someone else kind of tells them more, it can, one, it doesn't validate their experience. And two, they might not know how to deal with any more challenges that are coming on. They might feel confused, and they might not tell other people about their challenges anymore. Now, you can still be supportive educators, but there are also professionals or individuals that you can send them to. For example, like they can share some information. Some of the things that you can do so the question is, so what can I do, right? These are some of the things that you can do. One, be aware of your students. And I'm checking on the chat real quick. Parents, siblings creating distraction and background, students becoming distracted in Google Meets. Use daily check-in. Oh, you use a daily check-in, Fisher? And they tell me if they're sad, angry, tired, or hungry. That's an excellent way. That's actually one of the tools that's going to be used. But yeah, so one of them was using an emoji or using words. Having like a daily check-in is a really helpful tip. So that's one of the tips and tricks. which is funny. So right on point. The other one, number one, so be aware of your students and their situation. Are they late? Are they showing up? Are they tired, falling asleep? Are they unable to concentrate? Do you notice they're a little restless, kind of like moving around with their head down, hoodie on, camera always off, not participating? What are you see? What are you observing? Right? What is happening? And a way to learn this is exactly what Fisher said, having a daily check-in. It could be as simple as, how about you give me a thumbs up with an emoji if you're doing good, or a thumbs down if you're not doing too good, or you can put so-so. Having him type it into the chat, or having the option of messaging you privately. So they're able to do that via Google Hangouts. Now that's something to also be mindful about, because I've noticed, again, disclosing too much and like kind of passing that boundary can be a bit overwhelming for some staff members. That's when you want to again have empathy. Make sure that you're being understanding of the students and their needs, and that you're communicating with the adults, right? So communicate with the parent with the SBI: situation, behavior, and impact. For example, John is tired and unable to concentrate in class, and this is affecting his grades. And show compassion when you're communicating to the family, right? So you're going to identify facts. I notice John is tired because his head is down and he's not completing his assignments. That's impacting his grades, right? So again, we're impacting facts. We're communicating facts. That way we're not biased and maybe showing some of our thoughts that may potentially be impacted by their behavior, which can at times be negative. So let's be very mindful of that. That's where we kind of check ourselves and think, am I feeling this way about the situation? Or is it an actual fact? Like, is this happening? And how can you show empathy? Let me see, Jennifer. I used one word for how you are feeling today in homeroom. Love it. And also reminding them that you are there if you need them. Exactly. So in my students, and then Tim, when my students self-identify, the moment is about them, not about me. Your job is to listen, feel support, resources, alternatives. I ask if they want a snack or water. Those are wonderful ideas. And exactly, like I'm preaching to the choir, right? I'm sure that many of you already do this. So this is just like an overview for those of you who've already done this and been teaching for like a really long time, or been educators from the field, right? And the last one, provide support. So again, be as supportive as you can, but we're going to review some communication tips in like the following slides, but be understanding and not necessarily like try to like fix every single problem, but you can refer them out to resources. I know that Salinas Union High School district, the district itself has wellness centers at some sites already, and they're continuing to expand this resource. So if needed, send them to the wellness center. If you don't have a wellness center, send them to the counselor. Have someone to check in with them. And I know we're going to continue to share resources and other supports that you are going to be able to share with the students, just so that they don't feel like they're alone. It's okay if you don't know exactly what to say, but being there, building a relationship, again, is extremely important. It goes back to allowing the student to feel safe. That's how you can provide support. Just know that you're there. And the fact that they can come into the classroom and see you there all the time, that's already creating some sort of safety, structure, stability for that student. Now like on a Friday, you can have like Fun Fact Friday. It can be a class activity where you can again do it like on a daily check-in, which was already identified by one of you awesome participants. Way to go. I didn't even have to, it was part of the presentation, but someone already knew, so that's great. Remember to share this information with them, because as much as you think they should know, they might not. They might not know that they need to sleep about 8 to 11 hours per night. that it's helpful to have a bedtime. So talking about time management would be helpful. Possibly having like a snack or water, or encouraging them to go get breakfast, a snack, because the school already offers those things, right? So again, don't feel like you have to have all of that for them. You can encourage them. You can even say, hey, I want to go grab a snack. So maybe walking with them, or maybe saying, if you're open to it, well, you're welcome to go grab the snack and then come into or lunch, and then sit outside of my classroom because I'm going to be on a call or whatever. You can come into my classroom, whatever it is. But again, remember, this is one of the options that you can give the students. So having food, that's one of the basic needs. Hygiene, if they do have access, good hygiene, if they have access, of course, to a home, which there are a couple who are unfortunately without a home. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's not just assume that they all get sleep and they all get all these basic needs like food and water, and kind of question like, well, why didn't you shower? Why didn't you eat breakfast? Maybe they were running late because they're dropping off a sibling as they're trying to rush to class and running. And there are many different explanations. They might have been cooking breakfast and again, walking the student and trying to get their backpack and trying to get ready to come to school. There are many reasons. We can't just assume that they have to get all their basic needs met. Sometimes we can ask, and sometimes we can encourage without even having to ask. Now, I'd like to break us all up into groups. And again, thank you all. Let me see. Okay, no one in the waiting room. We're gonna go ahead and break into groups. This is how we're gonna go ahead and do it. So we're gonna each identify things that we can do to create safety, things that we can do to offer students a choice, things or like a way that we can have students collaborate with us. How can we show trust with our students? And what are ways that we can empower them? So I'm gonna give an example. Noemi, yes, sometimes we offer them breakfast or snacks throughout the day. I remember they have access to breakfast, lunch, and snacks at the school, so keep those in mind. So we're gonna go ahead and break into groups. Again, we're gonna identify one of these different ways. Let me see more. Oh no. This is gonna be fun. So I'm trying to break you all into groups, but I'm not sure this is gonna allow me at this moment. Fun. I think we're gonna have to just do it as a group together because I'm currently unable to break you all into groups for whatever reason. Love it when we have one of these challenges. Being sarcastic, obviously. Anyway, I appreciate your patience. It looks like I'm not able to break you all into groups as I had planned. But we can still participate. That's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and type into the chat. What I'm gonna ask you to please do is first identify the categories. So identify safety, if that's the category that you're gonna share about. Choice, if that's the category you're gonna share about. Collaboration or trustworthiness, and so on and so forth. So for example, for safety, some of the examples that we have on here are having practicing social distancing in between students. That's going to allow students to feel safe as we return back into the classroom, making sure that they wash their hands, so encouraging students to wash their hands. We can have signs up. So again, I'm already giving some of the examples that fall into this category. We can clean our desks, the use area, and then normalize feelings instead of saying like, oh, well, I get over it. Just like, it's okay. Like if students so-and-so is close to you, it doesn't matter. Let's normalize their feelings. Let's make sure that we're understanding where they're coming from. We don't know if they lost a loved one to this illness. We don't know exactly what's going on. So let's be sensitive and understanding of their situation. So these all went under safety, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and share a Jamboard. Okay. So there's a Jamboard, and you can now post a sticky note. Again, you're gonna post, can you all see the screen at this moment? Can you see the Jamboard? So what we're gonna do again, yes, perfect. Go ahead and type the category. Thank you for letting me know, Stephanie, and thank you. I'm not sure who unmuted. I appreciate you providing that feedback. Go ahead and add a sticky note. And again, you're gonna title it with the category. So if it's collaboration, you're gonna type collaboration on there. Mine says you only. I just changed the settings again, and it says everyone has access with anyone with the link can edit. So can you please try it again? Yeah, refresh it, please, if needed. I've given access to everyone. So under trustworthiness, build trust from day one. Build a rapport with each student. Get to know them before teaching them. Yes. Excellent. Thank you very much for participating. And there are 2 pages, so feel free to post on page 1 or page 2. As soon as page 1 fills up, I should say, then you can go ahead and post on page 2. Is someone writing on it? What you do, can you all see my the cursor? Can you all see me presenting the screen? If you do, again, you're gonna click on a sticky note, and then you're gonna type on there. So it can go under collaboration, let's say. And you can change the color too. Turquoise, green, pink, orange. For collaboration, include students, or whatever it is. So I'm gonna allow you all to participate. You can change the color of your sticky note if you like. So build class norms together. Exactly, that goes under collaboration. So everyone has input and buy-in. Safety, pride, flag, BLM, sorry, and OH8, have students understand classroom is a safe space. Remind students that we are mandated reporters if they feel in physical danger or a friend is being bullied. Collaboration includes student voice, yes. So everything that y'all are doing right now, they all fall under a trauma-informed approach. A trauma-informed approach allows for students to feel safe, to have stability, to have structure, to really go beyond the basic needs that are being met. So even if a student doesn't have like their very, very basic needs met, if they can create that connection, build a relationship with an educator, they will keep coming back. They will continue to participate and show enthusiasm because they have that relationship with someone who cares about them. Maybe they have an environment at home where a home environment where it's very chaotic and adults are not trusted in the home and they possibly are not encouraging the students. You might be that person who makes the change. You might be the person who's encouraging the student to come back, to keep going in life, to keep moving forward. So there are things, again, that you can do. Have trustworthiness, have zero gravity launcher in the enclosed courtyard behind my classroom and a fish pond. Yes. So that's another tool that y'all can take with you. Having a safe space in the classroom where students can feel comfortable. Let's say students are like, they're escalated, they're being defined, like they're just having a really hard time. They might need a place to de-escalate, to feel better. And that doesn't necessarily always have to be outside of the classroom. You can create a safe space in a corner in the back of the class, on the side, somewhere where students are feeling safe, or maybe they can put their head down because they don't need everyone else just looking at them, making them feel uncomfortable. Again, there are things that can be done. See page 2. I noticed there was a page 3. That's why I was Wondering if page 2 was filled up. So predictable routines, exactly. So having a set structure, and I was hoping that y'all would bring this up. So some of the things that you can do to create structure and safety are, again, having an agenda. Let students know ahead of time what they will be expecting. Have an objective, like, all right, so, and that's why those things we're taught in as to be part of the curriculum as educators, for all of you as educators, right? Make sure to include a list, like this is what we'll be working on. Because if a student all of a sudden is daydreaming and thinking about all of the problems at home, they're completely distracted, they're just off, they can look up at the, and they'll look at the agenda that's up on the board, like a printout or a big whiteboard, something that lets them know, like refocus, like this is what we're doing. Like they'll ground back to the classroom, like, oh yeah, we're focusing on divisions or whatever, not necessarily divisions because they're middle school, high school, but graphs, let's say. Yeah, that's what we're focusing on today. So, all right, page 46. Okay, there's my book, or this is whatever I have to be looking at. It allows them to, again, feel safe again. Imagine if there's a student that's like daydreaming, they're really focusing, they're thinking about a huge argument their parents just had, and then you call on them and they're completely lost. They're gonna have a really hard time answering. They might act out. So again, a way to reground that student is by reminding them, kindly, like you can possibly do this repeatedly. All right, so we're on, hello, hey, Mark, let's focus. So we're on page 46. Can you please read question 2? That right there was something that you've done to reground the student and let them know exactly where you're at. It creates safety, it creates acceptance, like, okay, I noticed maybe you're a bit distracted, but I'm giving you an opportunity to ground yourself again and come back. So that right there is a tip. Student choice. Students have choice of order of doing class tasks. Yes. So allowing, like most of the time, it's really important to give students choices. So you can do A or B or something, so what's interesting to you? So we have another one that was just posted. What's interesting to you? Students can choose topics for break activities that pop up during class. And those are some of the other things, again, that I'm going to go ahead and review under the class activities that are listed on that Google Doc I shared with you all that has the slides. Again, that's like a trauma-informed approach because I gave you the form ahead of time. I gave you access to the slides. I gave you access to resources, activities, in case, you want to look at those ahead of time. Thank you all very much for participating. I really appreciate it, despite not being able to break into groups. So let's go ahead and move on to the next activity. So thank you all very much. So under this particular section, again, something to keep in mind is knowing that giving a choice, a lot of you really posted it on here already. So giving a choice, setting up routines, empowerment, teach Maslow's from day one so students have the vocabulary to ask for their needs to be met. So exactly, so giving students knowledge. Again, like I was saying, fun facts. If they don't know that they had to like eat breakfast and whatnot, they're probably not even gonna think about it because they're way too worried about whatever other problems are going on in the home or in their life. Trustworthiness. Allow the student to trust you by showing them who you are, like being honest and also being having those boundaries. Again, not necessarily sharing too much about yourself where you're breaking those boundaries and no longer allowing for students to process their own challenges, but also just giving them consistency, being there every day, like showing up, allowing them to know what to expect again, and collaboration, including students, choice, safety. Looks like we reviewed them all. Thank you very much. And we have a comment. Yes, it's important to discuss current events, to give context and have an outlet. Now, if you are going to share information, as I mentioned, let's be mindful because when they obtain information, sometimes they obtain it from TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, information that may be inaccurate. It may be a meme that was created by someone in a different country, for much we know. So let's be mindful if, like, we don't necessarily have to share all this information, but there is some information. Just let them know that if they are going to be receiving information, to receive it from sources they can trust, like the CDC or the Monterey County website. And that's for us too, because, you know, we all look at a different information. So now, thank you all for participating. This is a very powerful poem that I saw. Would anyone like to read it? Yes, I agree, Fisher. Information, but not teacher viewpoints. Exactly. Just facts. So would anyone like to participate and read this poem?
Sure, I will.
Thank you, Jennifer. Go for it.
Okay, how can you teach me if you can't reach me? How can you reach me if you don't know me? How can you know me if you don't understand me? How can you understand me if you don't listen to me? How can you listen to me if you never talk to me?
Powerful, right? Thank you very much for reading it. So again, it's important for us to build that relationship with students. And we can do that by starting off with a would you rather. Like literally, it could be as simple as that. I've been facilitating groups for like the last 2 years, and I do individual therapy, as I mentioned, group therapy, everything, like a bunch of different types of therapy. And that is something that really creates an impact, building trust and creating that relationship with students. So now, what are some things that we can do to improve communication with students? Well, starting with listen attentively. What I mean by listen attentively is, I'm thinking some of you may already know, no cell phone. So if if you do have your cell phone, it's going to be facing down and you're not looking at it. It doesn't have the flashing light. It's not going to be vibrating. Make sure that you're listening. You're actually there for the student, even if it's like, you know, via virtually. Look at the screen instead of like looking on the side. And if you're going to be taking notes, as a therapist that I am, and I take notes, I let them know ahead of time. Like, hey, I'm going to take notes because sometimes, I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you clearly. And then you do reflective listening, right? So as they're speaking, then you reflect what they're saying. So listen attentively. That means that you're actually paying attention and you're present in the moment, not thinking about what's going to happen after the meeting or what you did before you got to the meeting or anything like that. Number 2, validate feelings, use affirmations. If they're going through some challenging moments, let them know things such as, I'm really sorry that you're going through that. That must be really tough. Excuse me. And I'll give some examples right after this slide. Excuse me. Number 3, show trust. Again, that's something that we already reviewed as one of the trauma-informed approaches. So again, I encourage you all to build that relationship with students. When you build a relationship, that's how you build trust. And provide an explanation whenever they ask a question, if it's a valid question, of course. Instead of saying, because I said so, or I'm the teacher. Like, remember, you already have this authority hat on just by being the educator. The student coming into the class is a listener, they're paying attention. You're already an authority figure, an authoritative figure. They're listening to what you're saying, they're paying attention to what you're saying, of course, overall. When you answer a question, if you don't know the answer, you can be honest too. Be like, I really don't know the answer to your question. And if you can find out, if you can ask someone, be like, I'll ask and then I'll give you the answer to that if I find it, if I have the answer. But, try to provide an explanation instead of saying, I don't know and I don't care, or who knows, or just because I said so. Remember, it's important to explain to adolescents. Remember, they're adolescents, their brain is still developing. The brain fully develops up until like average age 25. Number 5, give praise to students. If they did something really good, be very specific. Like, hey, Luis, you did a really great job on your math exercise today. Way to go. Or good job on that assignment, on your English assignment, Tony. So make sure that you're giving specific praise with the, like, say their name and tell them why you're praising them. So it's not just like, oh yeah, good job. Sometimes it can be taken as like they're telling anybody. Like, who are they telling? And good job for what? What did I do? They might not know what they did right or what they did a good job on. Hey, good job in keeping and staying organized. Or good job in following and being respectful. Like, you know, Hardin Middle School's expectations are like being respectful, responsible, ready to learn. So one of the examples would be giving a bark book. And on the bark book, you would say, great job on being ready to learn. You had your computer ready, and, you know, good job on being respectful by listening, giving eye contact and whatnot, stuff like that. So those are examples of giving praise and acknowledgement and affirmations and validating feelings and behaviors. Number 6, control your emotions. So being mindful of how you're doing. If you know you're not ready to answer that question that they asked you, it's okay to say, I don't know at this time. Please let me get back to you, and write a note so that you remember. That way you're like, okay, this is what Jesse asked me on 2/25/2021, question about their planner. Just so that you know, because let's be real, we can forget things. So being able to, again, manage your emotions, knowing how you're feeling, how you're doing. We're going to go more in depth into this. And then last, be mindful of the tone, eye contact, and body language. If I'm doing this, so eye contact, right? Of course, I can't see you all eye to eye because it's a virtual training. But I'm like, oh yeah, what you're saying? Okay, what are you saying? Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, look at this. Seriously? Oh wait, what did you say? That is rude. That is disrespectful. That is not doing any of the trauma-informed approaches, guidelines that I just shared. It's not following any of them, because you're not giving them, again, that attention. You're not giving them the space. You're not letting them know that you're there for them. So there are things that, yes, it may convey disinterest. One, thank you. Iambic rhyme, yep. So again, be mindful of those things. And then I'll give you some examples of things. So sometimes there are things that we say, for example, being negative won't help you. That doesn't necessarily make it accepting or loving, because, you know, it can be, again, we don't know what's going on in their life, and they might not know how to express themselves positively. And saying something such as like good vibes only. So if you're not feeling good, peace. That's not encouraging, and that's not being accepting of everyone. Or saying you'll get over it, or other people have it a lot worse. You're completely dismissing what they're feeling or what they're going through. Smile. Why are you crying? It's not going to help. Or just be positive. Get over it. You're going to be fine. Masks, masks do make verbalization difficult. I agree. So asking kindly if they can please repeat it. I agree, Deborah. So some of the examples, again, I already gave some examples in the previous slide. You're very resilient, or you're strong, or you're not alone. It's okay to cry. We all cry. We're human beings. We all have challenges. Like, we all go through some type of difficulty, but without necessarily disclosing everything that you're going through, but just saying, yeah, I'm really sorry that you're going through that. Did you know that you can talk with the counselor, or you can go check in the wellness center, or there are these numbers? Or did you know that on the back of your ID card, there's a hotline number that you can call? This is for Salinas Union High School District student. Well, this for all students, a law passed actually that allows, or that says that students have to have hotline numbers on their ID. So remind them of that. There is support and there is help. They can text, they can call, they can chat. There's support available. So now this is an example that was obtained that can be used with students. Like, when I feel upset, sad, unfocused, or unfocused at school, I can drink water, write a letter. These are some examples that can be provided to students. And these are things that we can do: stretch, take a 3 to 5 minute break. Read in a quiet spot. Again, having that space in your classroom may be helpful, or if they need to step out of the class, that is also an option. Giving that as an option. Now, good vibes. We're gonna end with this. So this is pretty much the activity that I've shared on the Google Doc. How are you vibing today? And it gives you like a couple of different activities, and I welcome you can change it in whatever way you want. Again, these are just some examples of activities and things that you can do. If you just want to do mindfulness every single day at the beginning of your class for 5 minutes, you're welcome to do that. Like, you're going to do whatever fits your schedule, your class environment, whatever is going to work for you the best, right? These are just some examples. Mindful Monday, and it talks about what mindfulness is, and it gives you different videos that you can check out. Talk About It Tuesday, Would You Rather Wednesday, what we did earlier. Thankful Thursday, and Free/Fun Friday. And you can start off with like a positive song. But before we before we go into the song, I would like to do a check-in. So we're gonna end with a body scan, and then we're gonna have a break. Okay, so again, these are all examples, and then we're gonna be going on to a 10-minute break. So during this body scan, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna encourage you all to take a minute. You can close your eyes if you'd like. You just check in with yourself. This is a body scan for you, right? Now, the next section, when we come from break, we're going to focus on us, like what's going on and how do I impact students? So as we focus, like as you close your eyes, just think about this. What do you need right now at this moment? Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling cold? Do you need to grab a jacket? Do you need to take off your jacket? Do you need water? Are you feeling hungry? Are you feeling tired? Are you possibly stressed? Are you in pain? Do you need medication? Do you need caffeine? Do you need coffee? Do you need tea? What do you need right now? Again, take a minute to think, what do I need right now? If you need to stop and use the restroom, you're welcome to do that. If you need to stop looking at the screen, you can close your eyes. Again, think about what you need, and you have 10 minutes to go off and take a break, rest your eyes, do what you need to do to take care of yourself right now. So you need water. Water is, Starbucks would be nice. Gotta go restroom, need tea, feeling hungry, just right. All right, so 10 minutes, everyone. We're gonna come back. Oh, 11:11, you can make a wish. All right, so we're gonna come back at 11:21. Thank you all for hanging in. I appreciate your participation. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. So again, I'm gonna type it into the chat, 11:21 a.m. We're gonna be back. I'll see you all soon. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I noticed someone just joined. My name is Maria Ruiz. I am a licensed clinical social worker, currently placed at Hardin Middle School. Loving it. So welcome back. 11:21 it is. I want to respect everyone's time. So we're going to continue with our presentation, with today's presentation. So I hope you all had an opportunity to stretch, to move around, to get water, to rest your eyes from the screen, anything you needed to do to just, make sure that you're meeting your own needs, right? Because again, meeting your basic needs allows you to function to the best of your potential, full of your potential. So y'all have, y'all can see my screen, right? Yes, perfect. Thank you very much for sharing, Cynthia. Thank you, Alejandra, Leslie, Tim, Sweetness. So, yeah, yep, thank you. And again, I just shared this. You have all the documents and everything on the Google Doc. Something that I did want to share, I appreciate the private messages that I received. That's a reminder for all of us. Whenever we're having a Zoom meet, we can communicate with students privately, right? We can have a private chat, but you're not able to do that with Google Meet unless that has changed, and I'm unaware because I recently used it, but we didn't have to privately chat. You also have the option of using Google Hangouts. So keep that in mind as an option. Now, tips. Perfect. We don't have anybody else waiting room. Excellent. So thank you very much for your patience. Now, as we came back, were you able to meet your needs? Were you able to like stop and make sure to just take a break from anything, like, you know, anything that you needed to do? Yeah, it's good to know. Yes, got my tea. There you go. I got my tea as well. Chamomile tea it was. It is. All right, so as we move on, I'm really happy to hear that you all made sure to take a minute or like take some time to take care of yourself. I want to remind, you know, we all know that stress is real. There are gonna be some times when we are feeling stressed, and it can be overwhelming if it's not managed. As you see, there's a balance here. Every single individual has stress, and stress is not always bad. If we have coping skills, we can balance it out, right? Did you know, oh, it didn't change. There you go. Did you know that stress backwards spells desserts? Who knew this already and who maybe didn't? There you go. Look at that. You got to make some eggs and toast. Delicious. Thank you for sharing, Leslie. Beautiful. I didn't know that. Yeah, so, right? So stress backwards spells desserts. That means that it can be sweet too. Well, not necessarily sweet, but it can be good because sometimes having some stress allows us to move, to keep going, to finish tasks, to prevent maybe procrastination, to really get the work that we need to get done, right? So it's not necessarily always bad. Keep that in mind. So what I'd like to do now is take some time, like you already got an opportunity to kind of get your, like jumpstart your brain to thinking about things that you need, right? To think about things that you needed at this exact moment. Now, during this self-care assessment, please know and remember that self-care isn't selfish. It's important to take care of yourself in order to function again to your full potential. I'm going to go ahead and share this link. It is part of the Google Doc that I already shared, but I'm going to go ahead and share it right now with all of you in the chat. So take some time to look at self-care. And I'd like to point out, because I know that maybe some of you might not know, that self-care consists of different sections, different categories. Self-care consists of physical care. So what we did now, we're having a body scan to look at what we needed in this moment, whether it was to get up, stretch, move, drink water, rest our eyes, whatever it was. But besides physical self-care, there is also psychological and emotional self-care, which is one of the sections that tends to be dismissed or put aside often. And this particular assessment, like I said, breaks it into different categories so that you know what that can look like, what will fall into each category. There's social self-care. So it may be that you consider yourself to be much more social than others, and you need to socialize with other individuals to feel good. And then there are others who don't like to socialize much, that say that, can you use this with students if it's age appropriate and they understand that you might have to explain some of these? Deborah, that's the answer. Sorry to interrupt everyone. So for social self-care, like kind of like allow, you know yourself better than anybody else. Is it best for you to like go hang out with your family and then go hang out with your friends and then go with your spouse somewhere and then go engage in like some reading and have alone time? Or do you prefer a staycation where you're staying at home and that's how you recharge, that's how you do best? So knowing what type of social self-care you need is important. Spiritual self-care is extremely important. Like, so every section is very important, of course, but spiritual also falls into this category. Is there anything that you can do in the spiritual realm, like meditate, like spend time in nature, practice some yoga, practice some prayer? Is there anything that you'd like to focus on in this particular section? And then there's professional self-care. So what are some things that you can do to make sure that you're also taking care of yourself professionally, so that you maybe it could be like keeping yourself up to date by reading some articles, watching some YouTube videos, participating in some trainings like this particular one, just like as refreshers to keep you going. So anything, these are the categories that this particular assessment focuses on. This one wouldn't be applicable to students, right? So the question is, can we use it with students? But you can focus on the spiritual, social, psychological, and physical section. So what I'd like to encourage you all to do is to take like 5 minutes just to identify, or a few minutes, however, let me see, 11 to 9. Yeah, 5 minutes. So 11:34 to go through this assessment and identify 3. So the ones on this with the star, you obviously you can't edit this particular form, but you can write it down or just identify them, and you're welcome to share or not. It's up to you. You can send me a private message if you want to share, or it's just for you to know things that you can focus on. And then the goal would be for you to set a plan for it, right? If these are the 3 things, just identify 3. So it can be 1 from physical self-care, 1 from self-care, 1 from social self-care, and that's 3 already. Or you can do 1 for each. It's up to you, but you do have 5 minutes, so keep that in mind. You're always welcome to come back and work on it. Again, you have access to all of these documents. So again, identify 3 things that you need to do more frequently or that you'd like to improve at. It can be eat healthy foods, get enough sleep. That's a big one. That might be one you might want to improve on, like get 8 hours of sleep so that I can really function well in class. So what are 3 sections? Again, eight hours. That's a good one. So 8 hours of sleep, what's that like? Just being realistic, I know that being a parent and being an educator and then trying to take care of yourself and doing everything else can be pretty tough. Let's be real, right? But like we can aim for at least 6 hours of sleep. We're making sure that we take a nap. Thank you, James, for sharing. Thank you, Noemi. You need to eat healthy foods and exercise. Way to go. I'm right there with you. I got the tea. I had some PB&J this morning on whole wheat bread, so that's part of it. With fruit, so we're having our protein, fiber, whole wheat, and fruit. So thank you very much for Noemi for sharing. So we have 3 minutes exercise. Thank you, Scott, for sharing that. Devote more time to praying. Thank you for sharing, Leslie. Time off from work. Tim, thank you for sharing that. So again, we're focusing on the self-care assessment till 11:34, so we have 2 minutes. Participate in fun activities, walking. I walk almost every day. It's pretty fun. That's my thing, right? But we all have different types of self-care. Rest when sick. That's a big one that I like to encourage, because there are times where we're just like so committed and devoted to everything that we're doing that we forget that we need to stop and take care of ourselves. Walk. Thank you. Thank you for the message. Time free of distractions and noise. Water, yes, water, very, very helpful. And it's fun too. Could be going to the beach, going to the pool. Find reasons to laugh. Absolutely agree. I like watching funny jokes on videos, funny videos, or reading funny jokes. It's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing. Time free of distraction and noise is a good one, because there are times where we're just really focused on our phone, on what's on the news, on everything else going on outside, that we forget to just stop and recharge ourselves. Even if you're a social butterfly, we do need time to just stop and refresh our mind, our body, recharge. Notice something every day to be awed by. Thank you, Deborah. Yes, being mindful, practicing mindfulness. Cynthia, I'd like to improve on asking for help when needed and getting away from distractions, like muting all phone notifications in the evenings. You can literally put your phone on silent and mute notifications and put it on sleep mode. Time off from work, get enough sleep, spend time in nature. Great idea. So it's 11:34. Thank you for sharing. I just wanted you all again to just briefly scan this particular self-care assessment, and you all have access to it. It's on a website on therapistday.com, and you all have access to it, so you can return to it and complete it in detail. You can really focus on every single one and use the scale. I do this well, I do this okay, I do this poorly, and then I like to improve at this. Thank you very much for taking time to complete this. Again, it's just to like kind of get you thinking about things that you can do, and you can also take time to write it out or print it out for yourself and work on it, whatever works best for you. Thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate every single one of you who typed into the chat, and those who messaged me privately as well. Appreciate it. Now, what can self-care look like at the school site? So we all identify general self-care, like take time off from work. That's one that can be part of the school, so professional one, yeah. Notice something every day, that can be part of the school, things you can do at the school as well. Take time to just stop and be mindful of like the trees, the leaves. And some people think, well, that's kind of weird. Like, really, you're gonna just stop to do that? Well, that's a grounding exercise. It allows you to just stop. So again, what are some things that you can do? Are y'all still here? Take your break. Yes, thank you. Taking a break is essential. Still here. Also, thank you, Thompson. Take a walk around campus. I love that one. I enjoy walking around. Use your prep to take a walk. Eat snacks. Breathe. Yes, definitely breathe. Drink coffee. There you go. These are all things that you can do at the school site. Yep. Meditate. So for meditation, I'm a therapist, right? So you think, oh, she got it. She can guide it herself. Yes, I can. But when I'm pretty stressed, I need to listen to a video or like a podcast or something that's going to have a guided meditation or an app. It can be hard to meditate. So having someone else guide it, like a video, an app or something that helps you, is definitely going to be something I recommend. Reestablish your exercise routine. Go to the library. Yep. Stretch. Take some quiet time. Absolutely. There it is. Headspace. Yep. That's one of the, excuse me. That is one of the apps that I encourage as well. Walk during passing periods to get air. Yes. So self-care is also being mindful of social media habits. Thank you all for sharing, by the way. At school, walk during, so thank you, Raul, Cynthia, Thompson, Juan, Fisher, Martha, Brenda. Maricela, setting boundaries, taking a buddy for a walk, drinking coffee, breathe, eat snacks. Thank you all very much for sharing. Yep, start each class with a mindfulness exercise. Love that, Deborah. So self-care for us also means, so we know the basic, the inside one, right? Sleep, therapy, exercise, sunlight, meditation, all these things, but it's also reading, learning, journaling, developing friendships, taking a walk, so things that we reviewed. Social media habits, being very mindful of that, because there are times when we're really busy, our head is and our mind are really occupied with everything that we're absorbing. And if we're watching too many news, if we're watching a bunch of problems and things that people are posting on social media and contributing to them, that can be potentially like, it can create stress. It can be harmful potentially. So being mindful of your habits, boundaries, again, that can also be harmful because you're not taking care of your needs. If you're taking care of everybody else's needs first, it's going to be really hard to take care of you first. So being mindful of that. Thank you very much. Having boundaries, watching a movie, communication, healthy relationships. Yep, yep, yep. Now we're going to go into a fun one. So as a therapist, I get to review these very often. And just know that this is a quick overview. I am not providing therapy right now. This is not a group therapy. This is just informational. All right. So just keep that in mind. So these are some unhelpful thinking styles that can trip us out sometimes. Things that we carry with ourselves that are not helpful, that can be, that's definitely unhelpful. So the very first one that we have up here on the left, and if you have identified, if you look at any of these and you think, oh, I do that, you can just, again, create awareness, because as you create awareness, then you can start making a change. If you have a desire, it comes from inside, right? People can tell you to do something, but if it doesn't come internally, then it's going to be really hard to change that. So these are very unhelpful styles that can lead our lives and can lead them in a very unhealthy way at times. First one is all or nothing thinking. It's also sometimes known as black and white thinking. It can be something as, well, I either do it right or not at all. Or I'm gonna, if it's not perfect, then I failed. I didn't do what I had to do. So all or nothing, it's either or, right? Mental filter, paying attention to the certain, like to one mistake. So let's say you took a test and you got 85% correct, but then you have like that percentage, like you got, you have 15% that didn't go too well, and then you solely focusing on that. That's filtering. That's mental filtering, where you're just focusing on that 15%. But how could I have gotten that question wrong? I knew the answer. Like, come on, you're beating yourself, sabotaging. You're really focusing on the negative, right? And then I'm jumping to conclusions. So I haven't even done the equation yet, but I'm sure it's going to be this. Like your mind reading, your fortune telling, like, oh, I'm pretty sure so-and-so is going to come and they're going to do this. I know it. And that's already leading you to think negatively and feel sad or worried or scared or mad. So jumping to conclusions, and so mind reading, fortune telling is not healthy, certainly, right? I did include a worksheet that describes more information and examples for cognitive distortions. That's what these are called. And the Google Doc that I shared with you all, just so you know. So Noemi, thank you for sharing. Yeah, overthinking a lot. That can be one of them for sure. The next one, emotional reasoning, assuming that because we feel a certain way, what we think must be true. So I feel embarrassed. I must be an idiot. Why did I do that? Like, really? Or I'm feeling really sad right now, and I bet you everyone is feeling sad right now. I mean, it has to be, hello, I'm feeling super sad. Like, this sucks, or I'm angry. Everyone is feeling angry right now. So just going off of your emotion. I'm feeling mad. I'm pretty sure everything sucks because you're mad, you know? So just because you feel it, it doesn't mean it's true. So being very mindful of whatever you're feeling. Like, I'm feeling extremely, extremely angry. All of them must think whatever, but it might not be true. Labeling. So sometimes, again, doing something that may be a mistake or wrong and thinking, oh, I'm stupid. Why did I do that? and then thinking about it over and over again. Why did I say that? I must be an idiot. I'm so dumb. We self-sabotage. We beat ourselves up sometimes. And all of this is the opposite of self-care, right? So I'm bringing this up to bring up, awareness, to remind everyone that all of this could be very, it could really be hurtful to our brain, our body. It can really impact our relationships and all of these different things. So just keep that in mind. Overgeneralizing. Everything is always wrong. Nothing's ever good. Oh, I've gone to every store and everything sucks. I like nothing. So just having absolutes and overgeneralizing a lot, like it creates negative feelings. If you continuously express yourself in this way, be mindful again, because we're thinking about the way we communicate with students. If we tell students nothing works, nothing you've done is important, not only are we thinking this way, but we're passing it on to the students. They're going to start thinking, oh, I didn't do good enough. I must be dumb. I didn't try hard enough. Oh, I shouldn't even try taking that test. What for? I'm going to fail. So jumping to conclusions. Again, disqualifying the positives, really focusing on the negatives and not looking at every good thing that you've done. As an educator, you do amazing things. Truly, I've gone into some of your classrooms, virtually and in person, and I truly admire everything that you all do. You're all you're very hard workers, and it's incredible the amount of things, the impact that you have on these students, the work that you're doing. Very admirable. And then magnification, catastrophizing, and minimizing. So, oh yeah, I volunteered for 2 hours, but it's just like 2 hours. Like, come on. Other people volunteer way more than I do. It's like whatever. Should or must. I feel using words like you should. Well, you should do it. That's already implying that the student needs to do something. That's more of like an opinion. So being really mindful, you must do it. Well, being critical, like think critically, do they have to do it? Or is it something that you're imposing onto the students because you feel that way? Is it something you want them to do? Or is it something that it is important for them to do, like their basic needs, going back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs? They must eat, right? But if we tell them you have to eat, that can come across as authoritative. Again, you're already an authority figure in the classroom. So encouraging, instead of be like, hey, it'd be good for you to eat. It can help your brain function. If you say you have to eat, you must eat, students can get on the defense and be like, why? Why do I have to eat? So again, it ties back to the way we're communicating with ourselves and with others. And personalizing. Last one. So this is my fault. I knew it. Why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have done that. Like, why did I put the board in this particular side? Now look at it. It's my fault. Like, students didn't get it because I didn't put it in a way, in a view, in a place where they can see it. So just being very mindful. Again, these are all things to be aware of. If you're doing it, again, I'm not here to like blame you and be like, oh, why did you do it? Or like, what are you posting? Not at all. It's just for you to have awareness of these things. And then, oh, look at that next one. Okay. Engaging and dealing with some of these thoughts. So, quote, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Click on the link. You're also going to find this on the doc that I already shared with you all. So one of the skills, one of the things that you can do, maybe looking at all of those different ways of thinking might have made you feel a little overwhelmed at this moment. You're just thinking, dang, I do all of these things. How overwhelming, how stressful. Instead of self-sabotaging, let's remember to ground yourself and think about something positive that you are doing, something good that you are doing, because you're not to blame. You learned some of these thoughts and some of these behaviors. It's not your fault. So take a step back. Instead of self-sabotaging, instead of thinking all of these things that I'm doing are wrong, think I'm in the present moment. We're going to practice some deep breathing. We're going to inhale for 4 seconds. We're going to hold it in for 4 seconds, and then we're going to exhale for 6 seconds. As you inhale, think of something positive, think of light, think of something good that you're doing. Think of an ability that you have, a skill that you have, a talent, anything that's positive. Your family, the sunshine, your tea, anything that's positive. So we're gonna inhale for 4 seconds. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. I'm gonna try it again. Inhale in through your nose. Hold. Exhale. You can try it one more time, but you guide it yourself. You can use your fingers to count just like I did. And something I'd like you all to know as well is that it can be hard to practice breathing exercises, especially deep breathing, if we're feeling overwhelmed or we're thinking too much. So just give it a couple of tries. If you don't practice deep breathing, you can also practice progressive muscle relaxation. So literally going from like top to bottom or bottom to top, starting off with your feet cuffed. So we have some exercises here that you can try. You can also look up YouTube, you can look up videos, whether it's YouTube or whatever source that you use. I'm practicing grounding, this particular exercise. So you have choice, you have options. You have different things that you can choose. I like I like breathing exercise is very relaxing. I completely agree with you, Naomi. Thank you for sharing. I like Headspace. I like balance. If you mind shift. So there are other ones again, that other apps that you can use. I know there's balance on here and like others that are helpful. There is brain test or no, wait, never mind. Sorry, that's a different one. So I'm looking at different apps that you can use. There's like lasting and other ones that again are going to be listed. So don't worry about needing to write them down right now. So there are things that you can do to take care of yourself. And did you know that you can take some of the things include like your physical care? So besides mindfulness and breathing and some of the things that were listed in the self-care assessment and in and the exercises that I just shared, there are also things that we can do to take care of our basic needs, including, and as educators, having a routine physical exam. So going to a provider, your physician. Let's say you need to check in with someone because for mental health purposes. All of these resources are listed on this forum here. So there are self-regulation exercises, improved communication, different tips, different assessments. All of these things are on here. And just so that you all know, which is linked to the Google Doc. There are, these are numbers that you all have access to. So there is, this is for all individuals that are like certificated staff. From my understanding, all staff that were going to participate were certificated. If not, then you can contact me. Hopefully I can help you. I'll share my email. Again, I'm a school employee. So you can contact me via email, Maria Ruiz. So these numbers are on the back of your insurance card. You can call EAP. They offer free therapeutic sessions, in case you didn't know. So if you need to talk with a therapist, you're feeling very overwhelmed, you're having a lot of these thoughts that I shared, like the cognitive distortions or unhelpful thinking styles, you can work with a therapist. You get 3 to 5 free sessions. So call EAP and you can talk with a therapist. There is also Teladoc, which offers telehealth services virtually, Express Scripts for medication. If you need a surgery, Bridge Health. And again, I'm an employee, right? So these are things that I know about. And then just to wrap it up, We're gonna watch this video. But before we do, you are going to be able to ask questions right afterwards. I just want to encourage you to really take care of yourselves and remember that there are things that you can try. I'm hoping that this is helpful. And we're going to go ahead and watch this video to wrap up everything that we that we reviewed during today's training. I'm not sure. Can you hear this? It's on 100. So let's try again.
Maria, you may have to change the audio settings on Zoom so that it will share the mic that corresponds to the video.
Thank you very much for that feedback. So I'm going to go to audio. So that's going to be, let's try it again. Can y'all hear that?
No, it's really muted. It's muffled.
Really much.
If you're using your school computer, you need to have speakers, because the school computer is not loud enough for students to hear. So you have to have your own set of speakers.
I see. Let me try to open it up on here.
Basic need for safety and belonging before turning to academics.
Perfect.
Oh, it works? Oh, good. Thank you so much. All right, so let's try it again.
Focusing on a student's basic need for safety and belonging before turning to academics is a common idea in education. So common, it can be summed up in 3 words: Maslow before Bloom. But it's not simple. It takes work and intention to integrate Maslow into your classroom. Get started by greeting every student by name at the door in the morning, a simple practice that activates feelings of connectedness and belonging while improving student engagement and behavior. Once students are settled in the room, spend a few minutes on non-academic conversation involving all students to foster a strong sense of community, and do a quick temperature check to identify students who are not emotionally prepared to learn. Those starter practices prime students for learning, but incorporating Maslow shouldn't end there. The need to regulate emotions, recharge batteries, and connect socially will crop up throughout the day, just as it does for adults. So, here are 5 teacher-tested ways to integrate social, emotional, and refocusing strategies throughout your school day. Students will lose focus periodically. For elementary students, after about 10 minutes of direct instruction, use short brain breaks, like playing a game or singing a song, to help them refocus. When students can't seem to hold still, a movement break can help. Consider Go Noodle or Hype the Breaks, dance and movement videos for elementary and middle school, or just try some jumping jacks. Sometimes a student is too worked up, and a movement break simply won't do the trick. Create a peace corner, a spot in the room with stuffed animals, books, and a form where students can describe or draw out their feelings to bring them back to calmness and teach emotional self-regulation. More and more, the research says that mindfulness works. Simple activities like focusing on breathing for 40 seconds help students release stress and boost their focus and working memory. Unstructured play gives students room to consolidate what they're learning, get exercise, and build strong social connections. Teachers face relentless pressure to push through lessons and get students ready for tests. But the science and the research are clear. Students do better academically within systems that regularly meet their social and emotional needs.
So that was a way to wrap up. And I want to thank you for participating in today's Teach Prep training. If you have any questions, this is the time. I will be sharing, we do need to share an evaluation. So I'm going to ask you all to please complete this eval. It is on it's on the form that I shared with you all. I really appreciate you all participating. I just shared it with everyone.